Since 2010, farmers in the Indian Creek Watershed in Illinois have been learning about and implementing conservation practices and nutrient management strategies in order to reduce nutrient loading in Indian Creek. People helped make this project a success, particularly partnerships fostered through the steering committee that was formed at the very beginning. We talked to some of the people involved to find out what made their project work and what other watershed groups and soil and water conservation districts can do to find similar successes of their own.
We wanted to come in and help a watershed gain 50% of the land in some sort of conservation and see if that made a difference in water quality. The other part of that is we wanted to create a steering committee or a group that when CTIC, when the funding rolls up and we move on to other things, that there is somebody left here that's going to carry it on.
If you really want to look at the reason for the success of the project itself, is the long-standing good working relationship amongst the participants, amongst the shareholders, amongst the landowners, growers.
I see a group of people that are willing to work together, and not only just in this type of a day, but the day-to-day.
I think they really enjoy working together, so that's a big part of it.
Everybody needs to come to the table and be a participant, and I think before you're going to get widespread acceptance, everyone needs to feel involved as a part of it as opposed to being on the outside.
I think the main key ingredient is when we started this whole project, we had the steering committee formed before we went ahead with the project.
They're progressive people and they could, maybe learn something that could help their farm and could help their bottom line if they could do things better and differently. So they're open to that idea.
You don't want to force somebody to come into this group. It needs to be voluntary and you have to have the same goal in mind. So you've got to pick them out of your area. Pick the ones that are going to make this thing work and put it together.
But it takes very special people. It's difficult to develop those people. It's much easier to find them and then sort of let them evolve.
It was sort of hand-picked. Farmers I knew, farmers that we worked with in the past on different programs, and farmers that were respected by their neighbors. I think on the National Steering Committee, hand-picked your people just to get it going. And we open up, if people want to join the steering committee, they can. But the initial people get a closeness and bondness of them that they go for. And of course, then people come on.
The chemistry, we've been very fortunate. I've been on a couple watershed groups before this one, and they didn't work. And they didn't work, I don't want to say that, but it seems like, a couple years into them, they just kind of died out.
So we didn't want to just start something, walk away and watch it fall. And so, engagement from locals and opportunity to bring people in and create a leadership here was of great importance as well. The key ingredients in this watershed to me is the local leadership. Terry Bachtold is, his relationship with landowners.
Terry is kind of the keystone for this because I want to say this is his baby, but he has taken a very active leadership role from the standpoint of keeping the wheels on the wagon.
He's not a technology guy. He's get in the truck and go visit people. And he's got that relationship with people that just he connects with them, and everybody knows him and everybody trusts him. He's been around a long time, and it just it works.
He has been very instrumental in following up and making sure the details are taken care of, and he's had a good strong support from the Soil and Water Conservation District Board.
It's his ability and desire to go out and just meet with people and make it happen.
When we set this whole process up, we sent letters out to all the farmers in that watershed. We said, look, we have this program we're starting. We're going to be around and talk to you about the different programs and the benefits that people might receive from this. So we went and we called them all. So I actually met with probably 100 of them. Actually went out and did a personal visit on their farm. I think that's the key is making initial contact. You can't just send a letter out and say, hey, look, we got this watershed project. You got to make an effort to go out and talk to everybody.
I think finding these unique places to replicate it, I think it can be done real well. But there's quite a few special things that have to go into that, and that's the people, in terms of the farmers and the support of forming the steering committee and people participating, all those things that we've talked about.
I think start small, don't bite off too big an area to start with.
The big focus is maybe not as important as the local focus.
Start off with a group of 5 to 8 individuals that are seen in the community as being respected individuals, and then try to seek out the rest of the individuals based upon similar sorts of characteristics.
It has to be people at the local level, so Solar District, NRCS, or other entities that are working in that area, that really have a deep understanding of the people and the different areas of their county.
Make sure that individuals from any and all players are contacted, considered, and encouraged to participate.
Give it a try and get started and not be discouraged if you get too many no's, and it kind of builds on itself once you get it started.
The other part is, I think, generally people like one another. They have a good time getting together, hanging out, talking about issues. They're very open with one another. They learn a lot from one another. There's some real progressive people on the committee that, they always bouncing ideas off one another and learning from one another.
That they can share their experiences of what they're doing in their farm with what someone else is doing. They're willing to listen and talk about what's happening. Yeah, I'd say the steering committee over time actually became pretty close friends.